Hi, everybody. My name is Mrs. Zanger, and I teach third grade at Sierra Vista School. I was going to read a story to you today. This is a classic, an oldie, and it's called And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street. And this particular book, I don't know if you can tell, but it's really old. And I went to look at it to see when it was made. And if you can see, it was made in 1937. That's when it was written. But this particular book was made in 1964. 1964. Have I had it that long? I don't even know if I'm that old. That may or may not be somewhere around the time Mrs. Zanger was born. The reason why I like this book, it's about imagination. And imagination is really good. It helps you write really good stories too. So, do you know who wrote this book? I'm sure you know who wrote this book, Dr. Seuss. So, To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street by Dr. Seuss. When I leave home to walk to school, Dad always says to me, Marco, keep your eyelids up and see what you can see. But when I tell him where I've been and what I think I've seen, he looks at me and sternly says, Your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales. Stop turning minnows into whales. Now, what can I say when I get home today? So it's just a little picture of the little guy going to school. All the long way to school and all the way back, I've looked and I've looked and I've kept careful track. But all that I've noticed, except my own feet, was a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street. That's nothing to tell of. That won't do, of course. Just a broken down wagon that's drawn by a horse? That can't be my story. That's only a start. I'll say that a zebra was pulling that cart. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Yes, the zebra is fine, but I think it's a shame. Such a marvelous beast with a cart that's so tame. The story would really be better to hear if the driver I saw were a charioteer, a gold and blue chariot, something to meet, rumbling like thunder down Mulberry Street. So there's the chariot and the Dr. Seuss zebra. No, it won't do at all. A zebra's much too small. A reindeer is better. He's fast and he's fleet, and he'd look mighty smart on Mulberry Street. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. A reindeer hates the way it feels to pull a thing that runs on wheels. He'd be much happier instead if he could pull a fancy sled. Hmm, a reindeer and sleigh. Say, anyone could think of that. Jack or Fred or Joe or Nat. Say, even Jane could think of that. But it isn't too late to make one little change. A sleigh and an elephant. There's something strange. I'll pick one with plenty of power and size, a blue one with plenty of fun in his eyes. And then just to give him a little more tone, have a Rajah with rubies perched high on a throne. Say, that makes a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But now, I don't know. It still doesn't seem right. An elephant pulling a thing that's so light would whip it around in the air like a kite. But he'd look simply grand with a great big brass band. Oop, here we go. A band that's so good should have someone to hear it, but it's going so fast that it's hard to keep near it. I'll put on a trailer. I know they won't mind if a man sits and listens while hitched on behind. But how is it fair? Is it fair what I've done? I'll bet those wagons weigh more than a ton. That's really too heavy a load for one beast. I'll give him some helpers. He needs two at least. Well, who's helping the elephant? Got a couple giraffes. And there's a little guy who's going to be listening to the band. But now, what worries me is this. Mulberry Street runs into Bliss. Unless there's something I can fix up, there'll be an awful traffic mix-up. So we have Bliss Street and Mulberry Street. They run into each other. It takes police to do the trick, to guide them through where traffic's thick. It takes police to do the trick. They'll never crash now. The race at top speed with Sergeant Mulvaney himself in the lead. The mayor is there, and he thinks it is grand, and he raises his hat as they dash by the stand. The mayor is there, and the aldermen too, all waving big banners of red, white, and blue. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Well, there's a lot going on there now. With the roar of its motor, an airplane appears and dumps out confetti while everyone cheers. And that makes a story that's really not bad, but it still could be better. Suppose that I add, that looks like a party, huh, with the confetti? See what he wants to add. A Chinese boy who eats with sticks, a big magician doing tricks, a 10-foot beard that needs a comb. No time for more, I'm almost home. I swung around the corner and dashed through the gate. I ran up the stairs and I felt simply great. For I had a story that no one could beat. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But Dad said quite calmly, just draw up your stool and tell me the sights on the way home from school. There was so much to tell, I just couldn't begin. Dad looked at me sharply and pulled at his chin. He frowned at me sternly from there in his seat. Was there nothing to look at? No people to greet? Did nothing excite you or make your heart beat? Yeah, it's just, there he is running up the stairs. Nothing, I said, growing red as a beet, but a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street. And that's it. So that was kind of fun. It's fun to use your imagination, and it helps us write really good stories. So good luck. Hopefully you'll be able to expand that imagination since you're at home and you can just start thinking of stories and maybe you could write them down. I'm sure your teacher would love to see your stories. Bye-bye. Be careful. Remember to wash your hands.